but also live.
I think we're live. I don't know how we did this. Let me just make sure. If anybody can see us, you're going to tell us, right? You're going to send us questions. Let's see. I'm going to ask my team.
Hey,
are we live?
My team.
Can you see us?
Who's live? Can y'all see us? I'll read this book while we wait.
Okay, we're live.
All right.
We're live, and so my team is going to have to send us questions because we can't see anything but ourselves. We look good, though. Pretty good.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
This is my first time hosting LEAPFROGers Live.
Well, thank you for letting it be with me.
Oh, of course,
Excellent.
of course. So the first one we did with Nolwenn, who's my assistant, who's amazing, who is just graduated from McGill, had a little bit of NPR experience, so she was pretty awesome. She did Nina Vaca, who you know is the owner of the fastest growing woman-owned company in America.
Wow. Okay.
She's an Ecuadorian immigrant, just like me. And then Nicole Dyer, who's in LA, who you must meet, who is also amazing. She did the second and the third. She just did Cat Cole. Well, you know Cat Cole just bought Jamba Juice.
Nice.
No big deal.
So this is new information to me.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, you're coming and in a
big
line
shoes
of pretty
to fill.
awesome,
big shoes to fill.
awesome people. But now,
and what
it's
do they
you
all
and
have
me.
in common?
They're all LEAPFROGers.
Yeah.
Like you.
Cool.
Oh, good. We're seeing questions. People are telling us we're live.
I see someone named Jessica Porek.
Yes. Okay, finally we can see people. All right. So I want to ask you things that we didn't cover in the book, as well as things we covered in the book, as well as new news.
Okay.
So some people know about the fact that you hit a milestone recently, which was that Backstage Capital hit the milestone of having invested in 100 underestimated founders.
That's right.
How's that make you feel?
It didn't hit me at first because we announced it in May, right after we invested in the last 3 or so companies, and it really didn't hit me. A lot of things don't hit me right away.
And I just want to do a sound check. Can everybody hear us okay?
Can you hear us in the back?
I'm yelling a little. I'm being a little loud.
We'll just wait. So,
good morning.
Good. Maybe they can. We are excited to hear from you.
Cool.
Good morning. But can you hear us? That's the question. I don't know if they can.
I think so. Let's assume they can.
Okay. So yeah, somebody get some feedback. Yeah, so 100 companies. It didn't hit me. It's starting to hit me now. I feel very proud of that. I feel like it's a major accomplishment for the entire team, and it hasn't hit me all the way. It feels like it's someone else did it. Yeah. But I'm really happy that it got done.
I mean, it's a big number. It's a huge freaking milestone.
Yes.
And you have people, by the way, who are all over the book. So you've got Sheena Allen in your portfolio. Yes. You've got Emily Best and Seed and Spark, who's in here as well.
Yes.
I actually haven't done a list. We should have cross-referenced your 100 with the people that are in here.
There are I've seen at least 3 by going like this. So I know that there's more, and I can't wait to dive in.
But more recently, there was another piece of news, and that was Incubator.
Yes, Accelerator. So last Wednesday, we announced that Backstage has launched an accelerator. Mm-hmm. It will be led by Christine Pitts, who is my investment partner at Backstage, and
who's amazing.
Who is amazing, absolutely. She's on the West Coast, and we brought on a few other people to help us out, and
that are experts at this, from what I could tell from their bios.
Absolutely.
I mean, they have built accelerators. They know this world.
Yes, and
awesome
just
people.
Are trusted. We have Tangelo, which is our tech engine at our studio, and they've come in to really. They've been working in tech for a couple of decades, and they just have that knowledge, and we're excited about that. And we have Wayne and Melinda from Change Catalysts and Tech Inclusion, and they've just gone all over the world working on this. Way before I was even aware of Silicon Valley, they were, leading the charge and trying to make change. So it is absolutely an honor to be working with them. And then in the different cities that we're investing in an accelerator in Los Angeles, Philadelphia, London, and a fourth city that you can vote on.
Who's
right
going to
now.
vote? I want to know about this. I saw that one, that fourth one. Who's going to get to vote and decide?
Well, you can vote now. So if you go to backstagecapital.com/accelerator, at the bottom of the page, you can actually click on the vote. We already have hundreds of votes.
So it's backstagecapital.com/accelerator.
Correct.
Okay.
And you can vote there, and there are there's some heated competition going on right now, let me tell you. And you know, even
I'm going to Chicago later this month.
Yeah.
But like, you know,
So we should do it there. Chicago, is that your vote?
It's so hard because I have like a special place in my heart for Baltimore. I've spent a lot of time in Detroit. There's some amazing stuff happening in Detroit.
Shout out to Chacho.
Chacho, Detroit. Oh man, it's so hard. New Orleans. You know, New Orleans especially because I noticed that New Orleans has an amazing growing startup scene, but not enough locals involved in that startup scene. So
this is the reason why we have the vote, because we wanted to launch in 4 cities. That was important to us, and we looked at the cities we were in because we had really strong connections there. And we said, okay, what's the 4th city? And honestly, between our team, we were like, there's like 20 cities this could be, and there were 8 that had really everything we needed in place. And we said, there's just no way we can decide. We need to go where we're wanted most, and where we can have the, you know, set ourselves up for success and set the companies up for success. And then, so this vote was like just our way of doing that. And then we plan on, you know, continuing. We're going to let this wave happen, but we do plan on expanding even further in 2020 and 21.
So unplanned segue into the book.
Okay.
You were, and I can't say this because there are over 50 people in the book, but you are a contender for favorite one, I think, because
you heard it here, folks.
Because Sarah, my co-writer, I think if it was up to her, she would have put you in like 40 of the 50 acts. Instead, you're in 3.
Really sweet. I'm in 3 parts of the book.
Yes, you are in 3 different sections. You're in the intro, which you know is called "Patience is Not a Virtue," because I think that we have to be in the business of being impatient, and I think you already are. And then you were in number 21, which is Silicon Valley by
Hack 21.
Yeah, Hack number 21.
Hacks, right?
Yeah, so 50 hacks.
Do you mind if I interview you first? No. How's the book set up?
It's never going to be under control with you and
never. So how is the book set up?
Okay. So the book is set up in, first of all, the book you can start beginning, middle, end, whatever. Okay. You can open it up like I Ching and get your fortune.
That's really cool, yeah.
But it is structured as ready, set, go, fund, grow.
Okay.
10 hacks in each of the 5 sections, total 50 hacks.
Wow.
So yeah, you're in hack number 21, which is Silicon Valley buy, and then you're in hack number 33, which is venture is a white collar drug, which is something you and I have talked about at length. But I love the fact that, unbeknownst to me, you announced this accelerator thing.
Yes.
You look so fancy when you do it.
It's really nice paper. I used to have a magazine, so I'm a freak when it comes to this. So it's really nice paper.
It's matte.
Great feel, great give.
But paperback.
Give.
I know when you write your book, which you better, I wanted it to be scrappy. I wanted it to be the kind of thing that you can just, you know.
Yeah, you went straight to paperback. That's real boss. It's a boss move. I don't know how you made that happen, but and then can we say that there?
At some point, I'm interviewing you.
Is there like
a hook? A what? Yes.
Yes, it's Audible. There's an Audible version.
There is an Audible version.
It's always going to be my favorite.
That was very nice of you, because if the answer was no, we were going to change that.
Absolutely. Because you know, you're traveling a lot. You want to know what's going on. Pick up the Audible, and you did it yourself. You recorded it yourself.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's always great to have an author.
It was painful. It was painful. Is it good?
I absolutely would prefer that on.
After I did, I was like, there is a reason that they have professional voice talent. And,
I mean, some are terrible at their own book, but I mean, I'm assuming you're good because you have a great radio voice. You have a really great broadcast voice, and also because you know your story really well. I'm sure that reading it was, even though it was hard to do because of the hours, I'm sure it was a pleasure because you know this material so much.
But you know, the book is mostly about your stories, right? And the stories of all the leapfroggers in the book, which I may not know as well as you do, but I'm so passionate about it, and I'm humbled, and I have to say honored that you all let me tell your stories.
Well, I will be leaving you with a contract that talks about my cut, so I don't You can be honored, but we're not done here.
I can be honored while I write that check.
No, I appreciate that, and yeah, I saw some really familiar names and names of people that I know, and I want to get to know better. So I'm excited about them.
So let's talk about your hack, because
Okay.
I swear I did not know that you were doing this accelerator
That's
thing.
right.
And
Yeah.
yet you're in a hack that's called Silicon Valley Buy, and it starts with the story of Sheena Allen. And it really
Sheena?
Sheena, huge
Yeah.
shout out to her. It's this idea that you no longer have to be in New York or Silicon Valley, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are ecosystems that are popping up in cities, amazing cities all over the country and all over the world. And so it isn't all about these one or two geographies anymore.
Right.
It's not to say that every ecosystem is, well capitalized enough, and that's why we need things like your accelerator program. But what's your thought? I mean, do you agree? I mean, is it not Silicon Valley is the end all be all?
I think it's kind of silly for people to think and say that Silicon Valley is the only place, and these larger cities are the only place, because at one point they had to have a start too. At one point, it was, I don't know if they say cornfield or something that people tell me all the time. This used to be as far as the eye can see. And yeah, they had to start somewhere. They had to start with someone saying, let's clear these corn/something else fields, and let's start this. And so, it may not be that Des Moines, which I've been to, and or Omaha has the infrastructure today, but if you don't start, it never will.
Right.
And so I'm more excited about the time in between, the building of it, being on the ground floor. Like, why would you want to be just another fish,
right,
in this crazy cuddle puddle pond of Silicon Valley when you could be?
I've never heard Silicon Valley.
Well, no, it's from Brotopia.
Cuddle puddle.
It's from Brotopia.
I love
you know that book?
Yeah, I do know that book, but
She
I
talks
missed the
about
cuddle
these
puddle.
parties that they have where there's cuddle puddles. I don't even want to get into it. I can't right now. But why would you? I mean, Silicon Valley is amazing in its own way. It is the standard. I like that. Like, I'll own that. It is the standard. But then why wouldn't you want to replicate that across the country and across the world? That to me seems like the real way to go.
Tell me what you think about replicating it, because when I think of a standard and replicating it, like, I actually, like, when I hear Silicon Alley, when I hear Silicon Beach, when I hear all of these, when I was in New Orleans, somebody said Silicon Bayou, I vomited in my mouth a little bit, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Just because I'm thinking, the standard didn't
work out so well for a lot of people.
For so many of us.
Yeah, I guess when I say standard, I don't mean the culture.
Okay.
I mean that for me to say, I'm going to speak for myself, for me to say that Silicon Valley is just a cesspool of terribleness, it would be wrong. It would be inaccurate. There's a lot that did come out of it. We're on Facebook, which was started in Silicon Valley. My phone just rang, which was started in Silicon Valley. So I'd like to give credit where it's due. I think there's a lot to pull from that. But just like with anything, you pull what you want to take from it,
and you leave
and then the localized versions of it have their own flavor to it, and that's where I think things can get interesting.
Yeah.
Where things are terrible is when you go to some cities, and it's just run by the same old, and no one else is getting in. And that is part of why we are excited about the accelerator. I think that the cities we started in are ready, lending themselves to that sort of collaboration in the city, so we can learn from those experiments and learn from that time.
And the things that are unique to that city.
Oh, yeah. Right? Yeah. So the cities we chose, they're already making strides for diversity and for parity, and that's really, really exciting.
Yeah.
Learn from them, all at once, collect that data, then expand that out and just see where we get in, where we fit in.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
So then tell me, I know our team put a lot of thought into what questions I was supposed to ask you. I apologize now because I'm going obviously off script.
She's going to flip this table in a moment.
It's 9/11.
Yes, it is.
And we're in New York City.
Yes, we are. Think about that maybe every 12 seconds today. It's been top of mind.
Yeah.
Were you here during 9/11?
I was not. I had a team on the second tower.
Okay.
I was in Seattle, which was our headquarters for our business at the time. But yeah, we had a team, the second tower, who all came out alive and well.
Oh, they did. That's fantastic.
Yeah, we were very, very lucky. It was a horrible day.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
For everyone. And we were very lucky. But I mentioned it, one, because I didn't want to go the entire conversation without
Sure,
mentioning it.
sure.
But I feel like what I really want to ask you, while I'm so honored and proud and excited to even be in the ecosystem with you, we help each other out all the time, which I appreciate. Because not everybody has that vibe, and I think that you and I are super committed to that. And
all day,
I will always have your back, and I know you'll always have mine.
Yeah. I feel like there's a gotcha coming.
No, there's no gotcha. My question is this. My question is, when we think about the reality of all the things that you are working on, to me, the overarching story is how you're going to take over the world.
Right. Well, like personally, like you think that that's my
I hope
goal?
so. No, I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I hope that your way of doing things, your way of seeing the world, I hope that there is this, overarching strategy. And I don't think that it's unrelated to all of the things that precipitated and then the things that came after, for example, 9/11.
You're saying like the capitalism side of it. Am I going to? I'm trying to translate
the exclusion of people that shouldn't be excluded. The wars that were fought in our name posts. Not to get political, but there were so many things that I would have liked to have seen done differently. If more of the people whose voices aren't heard were at the table, whether it be at the political table, whether it be at the economic table. For me, 9/11 wasn't just a milestone in the U.S. politically. It was a milestone economically. It was a lot of things. And I had hoped that it would have changed more quickly. But when I look at what you're doing, and I think, I hope Arlan takes over the world, and I hope this vision for the world and how people get included becomes the new standard. Sure. I want to ask you then, what's the plan? Because you're one by one hitting these really key milestones. What's the big vision that you can share about how you or Backstage Capital or both are going to take over this joint?
Yeah, I actually share the vision a lot, and there's no there may be stealth milestones that we work on, but there is no secrecy veil around where we're trying to go. It's also not super complex. It's just, I just want to move. I want to kick the needle's butt. My mother's in the corner over there.
Not move the needle.
Yeah, I want to just
annihilate the needle.
Move the needle. I want to knock it on his head. But I want to look at 2015, that goalpost. I don't want to look at 2025 and to look back and to say that what I did mattered in some way. Yeah. And that to me it's not. We'll see what that turns into. Yeah. I think we've invested in 100 companies that are led by underrepresented, underestimated founders. We're seeing more than 3,000 of them. I think that was a major kind of stepping stone of showing, busting myths all day long. Right. And I think we'll continue to do that. I think for me personally, I really want more and more people to know about Backstage. And I'm excited when people who are outside of the tech world and the investment world know about what we're doing. I think that's really it's really exciting to me. And because all I wanted to do really at the core is just inspire people to do something, for have ownership of their destiny, and a lot of times that means having ownership of a company or having ownership of their future or working at a company they believe in, and not thinking that they have to kind of go on this exact same pattern that everyone else did because that's what they're supposed to do. Right. So if we can inspire that, and if I can inspire that in some way, then I absolutely will think of that as a success. Yeah, and that's the ethos of the book, really. It's, the status quo isn't working for us. Being perfect and following all the rules exactly how you're supposed to isn't working for us. So here's some hacks, man. Yeah, this is great. So I can count. There are 50 hacks. Yes, 10 in each. 10 in each section. Column. But listen, I want you to tell the people watching, two audiences. Let's just assume. Okay. Entrepreneur, who may or may not want you or someone like you or I to invest in them. I know that you get asked this question a lot, what do people have to do to get invested by Backstage? You email chacho@backstagecapital.com. Chacho@backstage. CHO. That's how you get your. But is there anything what you were already going down the path of that you want, whether they are in your portfolio or in mine, irrelevant?
to your point, you were talking about ownership, making a change, right? Like, what's the thing that you would want to leave people who want to start a business?
We're investing in less than 3% of what we see. That number will dwindle the more we see. So I definitely talk more to the people who we're not invested in.
Yeah.
Not, when I mean talk to, I mean I'm speaking to them.
Sure. That's what the book is for me. Is we say as investors, we say no most of the time. It doesn't mean it's not a viable business. It doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be invested in. It's just not in my thesis, for example.
Right. Or it's just the numbers of like there's too many great options. A lot of times it's just like, man, we are investing in a certain amount of companies.
Yeah.
There are this many awesome companies. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
But I always, I mean, there's a few things I hope people take. It includes, not letting my no be your last no. I mean, your last step. You know what I mean? Keep going, keep going. It took me a solid 2.5 years to get my first investor. After, I mean, like just crawling through glass, really.
Yeah.
And if I had stopped after 6 months, like a lot of people that I talked to,
yeah,
or got really discouraged and thought about it, then I wouldn't have gotten me. I don't know how long it would have taken. Sometimes you don't know, and then sometimes you do have to, you check in with yourself.
Right.
Every few months, check in with yourself and give yourself permission to pivot. Give yourself permission to be wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's hard.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, well, maybe it wasn't the right thing because I'm getting these different signs from places and it's not feeding me the way it used to. It's not doing that thing it used to. And some people just stay in that because they think that they're supposed to, right?
And it's confusing because people like you and I talk about persistence. We talk about not taking no for an answer, keep going. But that you have to balance that with the discernment of also pivoting and learning, right?
Yeah, because I say that my no or someone's no leads to is one step closer to a yes. I don't know if I've gotten a little further and further away from saying don't take no for an answer. It's more about strategy. Like strategy is always going to be like if I were to teach a computer course, it would be called strategy. Because SNL type thing that probably from the 90s that you probably have no reference to.
Somebody
will get it. Computer learning. It's because it's like about strategy. So it's really about assessing your situation,
right,
and having as clear a view as you can. I'm not saying to be incredibly realistic because I was not realistic when I said I'm going to invest in companies. That was not real in my world. I had to have imagination and I had to have a little bit of the wackiness to me. But I also checked in as much as possible with myself.
Right.
And I had to make sure this is what I wanted to do. And there's persistence and perseverance, but if you're doing that in the direction that's the wrong direction, you've wasted your time. So it's okay to check in with yourself every once in a while, to change course, to decide, hey, look, I don't want to start a company, but I would love to work at a startup that has 20 people in it, that has a diverse group of people, because that looks fun, and I'll do that for 2 or 3 years and see where it takes me. Yeah, like I think there's a lot. I'm not only speaking to people to start their companies. Right. I'm saying have ownership of your destiny, and a lot of that can be in, hey, I'm the 18th employee of this company. I have equity in the company, but I also get to go to sleep at night. Right. And let the founders handle the rest. Yeah. So there's a lot there too,
But the way that I'm the 18th employee and I add value and I rock this role and change even the trajectory of this company ultimately is being entrepreneurial. Even
100%.
When you're within an organization, it's about
100%.
being an owner.
I mean, at that size of a company, our company's at 22 and growing, but at that size of a company, every move you make, I mean, like every third move you make is felt. Right. It's felt throughout the company. And that's kind of cool. You can see, you have an idea on a Monday, on a Friday, you can see it somewhere in the universe of your company. To me, that's that minus a little bit of the stress and the fundraising stuff and all of that. That's kind of attractive. Yeah. Actually, I quit. Diane, you're in charge now.
Things are happening. Things are boss moves are happening right here. So then you kind of went into the direction that I wanted to go in, which is we've given some pearls to entrepreneurs. How about people like you and me a few years ago? How about people who are thinking, I think I want to become whatever. Some form of investor. I'm a big fan of, there's somebody in the book named Don Rayvon, right, who's an investor, but he does equity, equity debt. So he really focuses on debt. Debt is a huge thing for him. He worries about entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs of color, having unbalanced capital stack, using VC for things that they should not be using VC for, not really thinking about debt, because we don't talk about debt. Yeah. Right? But debt is not
a bad
sexy.
word. It's a bad word to a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, nobody gives you a prize for getting $1 million line of credit, but they will put you on the cover of something if you close an A.
All day, yeah.
And yet you really need both to be successful in a business. And so I guess my question that we can end with, which I know isn't for everyone, but people look at your trajectory, and I think they're so inspired, not just by the work that you do with entrepreneurs, but with your own path, right? Of where does someone like Arlan, with the circuitous path into VC, get even the idea of going here, right? And then for somebody else, for the people that are following in our footsteps, for the future investors, be they micro investors, be they loan people, be they be angels, be
some
they
of my
people,
favorite people are angels,
be they people who function in the crowdfunding and even some of the new ICO crypto spaces. Like, these are all, a whole new wave of people entering in one way or another into the investing world. Yes. Any thoughts, advice, words of wisdom for them?
Because all these people are coming from different places. Yeah. There's just
and also you and I are in the thick of it. It's not like we're 10 years out looking back at our careers.
Right. Yeah. There's no, like, people are like, how do you deal with your success? I'm like, where did it go? Where is it? I had it.
It's right.
I lost it.
It's right.
Yes.
You're right here.
I would say the same thing that I say to founders quite often, and that is know your why. Be really rooted in your why.
Is that a shout out to Simon Sinek? Is that what you mean? Like the why?
I guess so. I'm saying why. Why are you doing? I don't know who that is, but sure. I don't know why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Yeah. And what is that? What is driving you towards it? And because I mean, like
as like your true north, so that you.
Yeah, because a lot of people think that. I mean, so for instance, I know we are running out of time, but for instance, a lot of people think that I'm rich because I have funds, right? And like, so to some people, they just skip over the part where it was like walking over broken glass, and that I look at my bank account every single day to make sure everything's cool, right? Like, so I think some people kind of just put it on a pedestal. It's some sort of thing that they don't know much about. So, but they hear the amount of money that's being spent, and it's really like, first of all, breaking it down to, why do you want to do this? Yeah. Why do you want to be an investor? If you can have any meetings or any conversations with other investors, go across the board and do that first. And there was someone who was starting, she was an angel, and she wanted to like go raise a fund because she had been an angel, and why not? And I said, no, I envy you. I would like to have my own money to invest, and it's hard to raise from other people. So before you do that, take 2 or 3 months and just have meeting after meeting after meeting with investors. Yep. And at the end of that, she came back and she's like, I'm sticking to my angel thing. It is hard out there.
People forget that we have investors. Yeah. That we're accountable to.
It is like one startup times 10 or times whatever you're trying. It's a lot to do, and the reason I do it every day is because I know my why, and I'm very deeply rooted in where I want to go and some of it has already been put down.
So articulate your why. For the people who might be new.
It's similar to where I want to go, right? It's about representation first and foremost. If I had to say one word, it's representation. I wanted there to be more of an even playing field. I have maybe an irrational want for idyllic equality sort of thing, and you're never going to get there, but you have to go towards it to get closer to it. Right. So that is a major part of it.
It's your moonshot.
Yeah, we need to. I think there are a lot of people who deserve to be in the room, deserve not just to be at the table, but to sit at the head of the table, all of that. And I want to be a driving force when it comes to that. It's not something that I want to sit on the sidelines for anymore. I want to. Speak it to existence and act it into existence.
Right. I would love to know your thoughts around where you think this is headed. Like,
this being what?
This being the world of entrepreneurship, and the world around them, right? So people like you and I that are so committed to supporting and to changing the landscape. What do you think it's going to look like in 10 years?
Oh, it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit because it's gonna be super diverse. Now that is if Tiny doesn't get us some sort of
Cheeto?
Tiny doesn't bring like make Jurassic Park happen again or something by pushing the wrong button. We'll be good. No, in 10 years I think it's gonna be real nice. It's gonna be like, it's about, the second, talk about representation and equality. It's also about generational wealth that we both talk about a lot. Like generational wealth is really interesting. In 10 years, it's just the one step towards generational wealth. But I think you're going to see a lot of people. I think you're going to see boardrooms, startup rooms, or whatever we're calling it in 10 years, bebops or pookie poos or whatever.
Bebops or pookie poos. I just want that to be. I just want us to be sure that
time capsule that one. You're just going to see it. It's going to be the companies that were started today, the companies that are going to be started in 2 years because someone saw this or saw something else a year from now. Yeah. Those, I think, are going to be touching all corners of the globe. Yeah. And the world, but they're going to be led by people that better represent these the ecosystem.
Yeah, the real world.
The real world.
Yeah. Someone asked me why the majority of the case studies in the book were women and specifically people of color. And
someone asked you why?
What was the motivation?
If you take this part of your hand and you go upward.
Right here?
Yeah. Just knocks it back. Just giving you a little bit.
I think it was. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, and I think that what they wanted is they wanted to hear an answer like this was my inspiration or this was like my strategy. Yeah. But my response is probably similar to what you say every day, right? It's just I just wanted a book that represented reality. Yeah. Yeah. Because this is what entrepreneurs actually look like. Yeah.
And we get to see it, and I think also, just a little bit of what I don't normally talk about, but I think media is going to play a big role. Yeah. And it has to.
It has already.
Yeah, it has already.
In the wrong way.
But no, it has in a good way too, because if you think about, we have examples now, we have things like movies that we can look to and things like that. And
I just watched Crazy Rich.
Oh, how was it? On my mom's side, how was it?
It was good.
Yeah. So we have that, and then I think that more and more, so we started seeing it like 2012-ish, 2011, where we're seeing the people that were like investing. So now you see it now, you see LeBron invest a lot, Beyonce invest a lot, all of that. But I think what you're now going to see is that it's going to become as commonplace as it is for someone to say, hey, jump on this live feed, or like, hey, go out and buy these sneakers, right? As to say, hey, I have this new app. I am the CEO of it, and this is my co-founder, and like really, that's going to become part of the vernacular of like influencers per se, and then it's just going to be. I think over the next 2 years, it's just going to be. It's going to kind of go too far a little bit, where everybody's going to have something, but then you're going to be left with the real. And the real to me are people like Kehlani, who we've invested in, who has fans all over the world. It's just 22 or 23, and she looked at things and she said, "Look, I could start like a alcohol label. I could partner with alcohol label. I could start like a clothing line. I could do all kinds of stuff. But what she wanted to do was start a startup, and so that she would be an example to people who listen to her music, who are young people listening to her music, who they can now say, well, okay, Lonnie can do it, maybe I can do it, and at least have that as an option that's not a basketball player or a singer, which are both amazing options. But if LeBron himself says you can be more than that. There are thousands of coding jobs out there. So I think that's going to play a really big part in it, and that's why 10 years from now will look so different too. Right. It'll be a little bit of give and take. It'll be a little bit of us doing our jobs and people documenting and turning that into fiction, and then that'll come out, and then that'll roll out into more and more.
I love the storytelling piece. Yeah, that's a big part that I talk about as well. For different reasons, you come from the entertainment world, and I don't. Yeah.
Entertainment world is very, very nice way of putting it where I come from.
Well, that's like when people
I
are
push
like,
boxes up and down.
she comes from the fashion industry. I was like,
Yeah.
no, my family worked in sweatshops,
Yeah,
which is, you know,
very
but,
much,
but it
yes.
is the fashion
Yeah,
industry.
it's
Okay,
fashion.
fine. But so I think that you and I have that in common, and the fire truck behind us too. But we both think that it's not enough to do. Do is important, but it's also about coming back and telling those stories and changing the narrative.
Yeah,
right.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be.
We've done a terrible job of taking questions, by the way.
Oh, the question.
And we're pretty much out of time, but I'm going to not do a complete abandonment of the strategy. People sending love and light for 9/11, Silicon Bayou, Cuddle Puddle. People like the Cuddle Puddle.
Emily Jane, Utopia. It's not this book. Get this book first, and then go get Utopia.
Yes, because she's all over it. Women Occupy Hollywood in the house. People sharing your link, Backstage Capital /Accelerator. I did see a question here. Well, okay, how did you personally find investors to pitch to? And how many pitches did you deliver before you heard your first yes after that 2.5 year mark that we talked about? The swimming through glass. No, the crawling through glass.
Swimming through glass is even. That's raw.
That's really hard.
That's raw.
That's really hard.
I chased them down. I found them online, just like you're finding this. I read everything I could, watched every video I could, and I started taking from people. Like, if I liked what they had to say, I wanted to talk to them and talk to them directly. So a lot of them obviously didn't talk to, but a lot of them did. And it's really about taking what the person wants to give. So not necessarily having in your mind the set idea of what everybody needs to give me this amount of attention, this amount of feedback, and this, because not everybody rolls like that.
Right.
So for me, honestly, since I get so many emails and so many messages online, if I write you back with one sentence, that's more than I was able to do for the 49 people that I passed by. Yeah, so that's what I had to learn myself. Oh, they don't think that much of me, and that's how they're too good for whatever. But then I started thinking, before I had the fun, I was like, man, I wonder, I can't believe they even saw my name. Like, how did they even get through? And so it was like, it was from like 4 years ago. And even 10 years ago, I had to do this for when I recorded Gimlet, the startup podcast. I was on that series. I had to do diligence of every single episode. So I had to go back and find, if I said,
to fact check?
Yeah, if I said any sort of sentence, they had to, and I said it, and they're like, cool. Like 3 months later, they're like, okay, you need to find the email that proves that sentence. Yeah. So I went back and did that really crazily. And I noticed something, a pattern in my emails that were sent. And it was that no matter what I was going through, no matter how broke I was or how sick I was or how whatever I was really polite to people who said no to me. I was really...
Which people remember.
Yeah, I was like, not overly saccharine, not like, well, thank you. It was kissing anybody's butt. It was just like, okay, I'll keep you posted, in 6 months. And it was just this sort of thing. And a lot of those people I now deal with. Yeah. So imagine if I had tried to, I have people write to me and then I say, well, I'll send you somewhere else, or I don't have time to look at it, or we're not looking at that right now. Well, you'll be sorry. I'm like, I won't. I honestly will not be sorry. I'm going to be good.
Effective.
You'll be sorry.
Since that email. Yeah. I know I'm not going to be sorry. 5 minutes ago, I might have debated it, but like now I'm clear.
So it's just really, and I know nobody watching this would ever do that, but it's just, sometimes it's all goes back to strategy. And so I just reached out to people. Every email was a learning experience because I used to write this really long emails, and I got it. I took feedback, and I was like, no, and I got it to a really succinct place. Just treat yourself like the 4-year subject, give yourself as much analysis as you would give a subject, and you can probably, I do that still. I don't think you ever stop.
Analyzing yourself.
You analyze yourself and how you're doing, and I'm scared to say self-aware because the people who say self-aware sometimes are not self-aware. So I don't want to go that far, but I will say that helps us to at least try your best. Try your best to say, how am I coming across? Right. And
There was there's a quote that you might know that I definitely put in the book around this, around making connections, not just doing transactional networking, but like actually connecting with people, which is the Maya Angelou quote, right? People won't remember what you did, they'll remember how you made them feel.
Sure.
And you made people not feel like crap at the end of a rejection.
Yeah.
Which left the door open for the future.
And I know instances prior to that where I made people feel bad for something else, and I know how that feels today, years later, and how it's no good. There's nothing good that's come from it.
Yeah.
From me being upset in the moment, or nothing has come from it.
No.
So anytime I have just been okay in the moment, and of course you're gonna be frustrated and sad. You know how many? I mean, pillows got. You know, I'm screaming into them and crying into, but people are human. People are dealing with their own stuff all day long. Even if you don't particularly like someone, they're all dealing with their own stuff.
Yeah, and you got to be strategic. Especially when you're gaming a system that's not really designed for you, and we're all breaking barriers every day. So.
Oh yeah, I learned every rule I could possibly get my hands on, so I could know how to break them.
Well, now that we're breaking all the rules, I didn't ask, I don't think, any of the questions that my team wanted me to ask, but we got this, and we got this, and we got all this goodness.
Annie's coming home.
And we got Tiny mentioned. We got all sorts of good things.
Tiny
that are going to make
somebody
like
go hug Tiny.
Oh, man. Not me. All right.
I'd hug him.
So,
I'd hug him. Yeah, I'd hug him.
I feel bad. And it would hurt?
It would hurt.
Oh,
like
that's
heck.
not a hug.
But I would hug.
That's not a hug.
No, I mean, I would hurt my insides to think about it. But I
thought you would hurt him.
No. I'd hug him. I'd hug him genuinely.
All right. You can't see this, but she's wearing purple Nikes.
Oh, yeah.
So trust me when I say.
Sorry, I don't What?
She just took her shoe off.
You're welcome.
Okay, this was not like any of our other live sessions, which is okay. In fact, it's probably going to be the best one. Because Arlan was here. And Arlan is here. I'm so glad that you could come in.
Arlan was here on Twitter and Instagram.
This is how we deal with anniversaries like 9/11. We deal with them with wisdom and joy and all of the things that the world needs more of. So thank you.
And cupcakes later.
And cupcakes later.
Hi.
All right, we're in.